Over here moving these bricks. And loading up the dumpster. I'm about to have to build a porch. But I want to address something really quick here. There's people that do sly things, like somebody say something, they try to overtalk them or explain what the person is saying, and just let the person's word speak for itself. I'm not afraid to be called a liar or any of that stuff. The problem comes in when people are influencing other people to think a certain way about somebody. And I feel like that has been happening for a while. There's definitely some things that, I've had to work on. And as I've said before, that's one of the reasons why I took a break. But one of the most annoying things that I've dealt with since the beginning is people grabbing hold of what I'm saying and either interpreting it for themselves or saying what I mean, and that's not actually what I mean. And that's why I believe if God gave us something to say, we should be able to stand on it. It shouldn't be hearsay. We shouldn't try to cover our tracks later, because it all seems messy. I could stand on everything that I've said and done because I know my motives behind it. People say I've said certain things about them that are untrue. In every moment that I have, I've repented of that. But there's people that have to control the narrative about what people are saying and what people is doing. And I think part of their problem is they put their nose into people's business too often. And it's one thing you talking about yourself, things about your day, things that you do, or that you're actually experiencing. But when you're trying to overtalk somebody else about their experience, and that's where my problem has came in from the beginning of my time online, and it's happened more recently. If people think I'm being mean towards them, at this point it's whatever, I know who I'm talking to, but I can as well notice that people are trying to make me seem a certain type of way to other people in order to ruin opportunities and this and that. And I pray for all of this. So me understanding what's going to follow after this is the right people regardless. And what I'm going to politely ask people to do, because I'm not going to be indirectly addressing people anymore. It's just going to be direct with that type of boldness, because you have to be that bold in these times. People can't stop trying to, overtalk people. I'm going to call them directly out by name and by page, and we can go from there. It's up to us to be wise in our disputes. And I feel like trying to do things underhandedly, having ulterior motives with certain things, trying to push certain people out the way when you don't have the authority to do none of those things, trying to levy cases against people. It shows fundamental issues in what you're talking about. And when you try to exalt yourself as spiritually mature, how can you be spiritually mature but yet not take accountability? But yet not understanding that God is going to judge you harsher than somebody who is weaker in the faith. Not understanding that you're supposed to be able to endure certain persecutions as an example to the others who are watching you. But yet, how we handle things is bad. Nobody has had their hands put on them. Nobody has had their children threatened. Nobody has had their livelihood threatened. I've been accused of many different things. And I ain't gonna get into those things until I'm ready to address the person. And if the person keeps trying to overtalk me about what I'm saying, I'm just gonna be flat out blunt with that. But I think in order to protect ourselves, we should speak on what actually God is telling us to speak on. Maybe he is telling us to encourage somebody, or maybe he is telling us to be there for somebody. But I strongly believe how we're doing that matters. And we can't do that on our own volition or with our own ulterior motives and to try to push somebody out the way and make somebody look like something that they're not. I feel like it's dangerous. So, I try to be the peacemaker all the time, but I'm just going to have to be more blunt and make people feel really uncomfortable. Peace.